She is a storyteller with a heart that is strongly based in faith, family, and the power of music. Carrie Underwood has always been more than simply a country superstar. She is a storyteller. A heartfelt tribute to her late friend and songwriter, Brett James, who had sadly passed away in a plane crash just a few weeks previously. She gave one of her most emotional performances to date on Friday night at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. Her heart shone brighter than it ever has before as she performed her performance. As the Opry celebrated its 100th birthday, it was an evening that was filled with feelings of nostalgia, reverence, and the bittersweet ache of loss. This evening was perfectly aligned with the celebration. The iconic stage has long been a symbol of the essence of country music, and for Carrie, it emerged as a hallowed venue in which she could pay tribute to a man who had a significant impact on the formation of her artistic identity. An evening filled with remembrance and celebration. In the light of the Opry's iconic circle, Carrie graced the stage wearing a short dress with a light blue floral pattern. She was a picture of grace and quiet strength. The ensemble that she wore, which was finished off with glistening diamond earrings and sky blue heels, conveyed a sense of calm resilience. In spite of her stunning good looks, however, there was a profound sadness in her eyes that could not be concealed by any sparkle. As she began her performance, the powerhouse, who is 42 years old, expressed her appreciation and kindness, recognizing the venue's achievement. On the other hand, the mood changed when the first chords of Jesus, Take the Wheel, were broadcast into the atmosphere. This was a eulogy in melody, and the audience, which consisted of both longtime admirers and country luminaries, was aware that they were witnessing something that was more than just another performance. Carrie's voice shook between emotions of sadness and hope with each note, a prayer for her friend who was instrumental in the creation of this particular song nearly 20 years earlier. A song that came to define an entire career. The song Jesus, Take the Wheel is not only another hit in Carrie Underwood's repertoire, rather, it is the song that catapulted her to the forefront of the music industry. This song, which was initially released in 2005 as the first single from her album Some Hearts, went on to win 2 Grammy Awards. The first for Best Female Country Vocal Performance, and the second for Best Country Song from 2007 to 2007. On the other hand, Brett James, one of the most talented composers and producers in Nashville, was the one responsible for the lyrics that moved millions of people. James, together with his co-writers Hillary Lindsey and Gordy Sampson, was able to convey a universal cry for assistance, which is a request for heavenly guidance during times of surrender. Carrie felt as though she had completed a circle when she performed that song after Brett had passed away. When she was performing, it wasn't just about recreating a hit. It was also about going back to the beginning of her voice as an artist. She later wrote the following on Instagram. Tonight, I had the opportunity to pay tribute to my friend. My life has been enriched by the opportunity to having met him, and I will have the privilege of singing his melodies and words for the rest of my life. The kind of humility and faith that has always been the defining characteristics of Carrie's work was repeated in that message, which was simple yet deep. It is a terrible loss. As soon as the music industry learned of Brett James's passing, shockwaves were thrown through the industry. A small private plane that was carrying James, his wife, and their daughter went down shortly after takeoff on a calm afternoon the previous month. Those who survived were not found. In addition to mourning the loss of a talented songwriter, friends and collaborators from all over Nashville mourned the loss of a kind and generous spirit who had made an indelible impression on the lives of many others. A significant portion of James's musical legacy is not limited to his work with Carrie. His pen touched a variety of musical genres, ranging from the pop blockbusters of Kelly Clarkson to the rock ballads of Bon Jovi, from the Latin hits of Paulina Rubio to the early country experimentation of Taylor Swift. He became one of the most respected names in the industry as a result of his ability to adapt, connect, and elevate each and every artist he collaborated with across the board. However, it was his country heritage and his passion for storytelling that pulled him back to his hometown. Carrie Underwood was the person he considered to be his artistic soulmate. Carrie and Brett's relationship and their bond. Their bond extended beyond the confines of the studio. For a number of years, Carrie and Brett not only collaborated on artistic projects, but also showed each other admiration. Both individuals were aware of the equilibrium that exists between fragility and strength, as well as faith and celebrity. Throughout the years, Brett has frequently referred to Carrie as one of the most honest voices I've ever heard, both in music and in life. This particular description was made in interviews. Carrie, on the other hand, frequently acknowledged him with an important role in assisting her in gaining the confidence to express herself through intensely emotional content. The professional connection between them was marked by a number of significant achievements, ranging from the spectacular success of Jesus, Take the Wheel, to more subdued, unreleased pieces that were never made public but held significant personal significance. The recognition of a colleague was not the only purpose of the performance on Friday. A buddy who had played a significant role in shaping her fate was being honored. In a performance that brought the Opry to a halt, once Carrie began singing the well-known lines, which included Jesus, Take the Wheel, Take It From My Hands, the Opry went into complete silence. It appeared as though the audience was in a state of communal sadness, with many of them holding back tears. When she spoke, her voice, which was often authoritative and forceful, became more kind and almost frail. It seemed as if we were saying farewell with every single word that we spoke. A brief, silent moment of introspection occurred for her at the halfway point of the song, during which she took a momentary pause, took a breath, and then concluded the song with a typical thunderous climax. Following the conclusion of the final note, the crowd stood in unison. Not the screaming acclaim of exhilaration, but rather a slow, emotional ovation of thanks was displayed by the audience. Carrie gently brushed away a tear, mumbled, "Thank you," and then turned her gaze upwards toward the stars, remembering Brett James, the artist who brought music to the world. Although Brett James was born in 1968, he spent his childhood in Norman, Oklahoma, before relocating to Nashville in order to pursue his goal. His debut album, which was titled after himself, was published in 1995, but he quickly realized that his true calling was in the realm of songwriting and producing. Over the course of several decades, his name became synonymous with narrative that was deeply felt. He composed songs that were not just at the top of the charts, but also stirred the souls of listeners. These songs were a reflection of the life of regular people, while also carrying the emotional weight of poetry. A number of his works, including those for Josh Grassin, Jessica Simpson, Kip Moore, and Christy Lee Cook, were extremely successful. Through his work with Taylor Swift at an early stage in her career, he demonstrated his capability of fostering the development of emerging talent. They claim that his greatest skill was not simply his ear for melody, but rather his empathy. This is according to those who knew him the best. A song should be able to heal, according to Brett, who also believed that music was one of the few pure languages that were still in existence in the world. Above and Beyond the Stage, a tribute to Carrie. Carrie's social media profiles started functioning as a digital tribute to her buddy who had passed away in the days that followed her performance at the Opry. Through the sharing of vintage photographs from recording sessions, moments of laughing, and honest behind-the-scenes footage, she illustrated the creative synergy that existed between them. Following the release of Jesus, Take the Wheel, fans crowded the comments area with messages of support and recounted memories of how the song had a profound impact on their lives. Many people claimed that they were unaware of the identity of Brett James. Nevertheless, after hearing Carrie's tribute, they experienced a sense of connection to his spirit. A lyric sheet from one of their songs that had not yet been released was posted by Carrie in a post that was very moving. The post was simply captioned, "Even if they are never released from the studio, there are certain songs that never leave the heart, keeping the traditions alive and well." In the course of commemorating 100 years of country music, the Grand Ole Opry has served as a venue for the perpetuation of legends and the preservation of life stories. It was more than simply a performance for Carrie Underwood. It was a promise during that particular evening. She made a solemn pledge to continue singing Brett's songs, ensuring that his words would continue to be a part of every note that she played. Insiders in the music industry have already dropped hints that her future album would include a special tribute piece that she and her late husband had collaborated on before he passed away. This would be an appropriate approach to honor his memory in her subsequent journey. The fact that Carrie is able to transform sorrow into grace and agony into poetry is what makes her one of the most powerful voices in the history of country music. Her homage served as a reminder to the entire world that even though popularity fades and charts change, the connection that exists between an artist and their muse is unbreakable, an eternal farewell written in melody. Carrie remained on stage for a brief period of time, despite the fact that the lights of the Opry were gradually dimming and the night was drawing to a close. She felt as though she was standing on holy ground as she walked around the empty circle that had been shared with numerous legends in the past. She uttered in a low voice, "Thank you, Brett," before extending her hand and stepping into the wings. Something as simple as the gesture said more than any encore could. The words were a promise, a benediction, and a farewell all packed into one statement. Despite the fact that Brett James has passed away, his spirit will continue to reverberate in the chorus of Jesus, "Take the wheel for all time." This is because of the enduring power of music, specifically through the voice of Carrie Underwood and the millions of others whose lives were affected by their partnership.